Welcome to episode 8 in our series on Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto's The Path of the Just. And we're up to chapter 7. And in the last episode, we discussed the idea of alacrity, which is like zealousness or vigor, putting life and putting a bit of energy into your servant's duties, your duty to God. And in this episode, we're going to discuss the elements of vigor and its various components. Let's begin. So the Ramchal begins. He first of all describes how vigor has two components. The first requires that one must not delay in fulfilling a mitzvah. So the Ramchal begins. Alacrity consists of two elements. One that relates to the period prior to the commencement of a deed, and the other that relates to the period that follows the commencement of a deed. The former means that prior to the commencement of a mitzvah, a person must not delay its performance. Rather, when its time arrives, or when the opportunity for its fulfillment presents itself, or when it enters his mind, he must react speedily, without delay, to seize the mitzvah and to do it. He must not procrastinate at this time, for no danger is graver than this. Every new moment can bring with it some new hindrance to the fulfillment of the good deed. Our sages of blessed memory awakened us to this truth, and he's going to quote from Bereshis Rabbah 76 verse 2. In reference to Shlomo's coronation, David said to Benayahu, and he quotes from a passage in Melachim, and you shall take him down to Gishon. And Benayahu responded, Amen, it should be with the Eternal's consent. They of blessed memory said, Rabbi Pinchas asked in the name of Rabbi Hanan of Tzipori, but hasn't it already stated, and he quotes from Divrei Hayamim, a son will be born to you, to David. He will be a man of peace, in reference to King Shlomo. We therefore deduce from here that Benayahu's response implies that many impediments may yet arise between here and Gishon. As a result of their concern that a mitzvah might be delayed, the sages of blessed memory forewarned us in the Midrash on Mechilta on bow, 12 verse 7. You should watch over the matzot. Do not procrastinate when a mitzvah, this is a play on the word matzot, comes your way. And also they brought another case from Bava Kama 38b. One should always deal promptly with matters pertaining to mitzvot, for in return for the one night in which the elder, referring to the daughter of Lot, was quicker than the younger, she preceded her into Israel, and she was rewarded by 4 generations of royalty. They also stated from Pesachim 4 Amud Aleph, those with vigor fulfill the mitzvot promptly. They further said from Brachot 6b, one should always run to perform a mitzvah, even on Shabbos. And in the Midrash it says, and he refers to Vayikra Rabbah 11 verse 9, he will guide us al-mut. That's from Psalms 48:15, with alacrity, with vigor, as befits young maidens. As it says, in the midst there are young maidens playing timbrels. Alacrity is indeed a virtue of immense perfection, which man's nature prevents him from attaining completely in the here and now. He who overcomes his nature and seizes the virtue of alacrity with all of his ability will truly be granted it in the future. The Creator, may his name be blessed, will present it to him as a reward in return for his effort in pursuing it during his service. On the other hand, the act of vigor that follows the commencement of the deed is necessary so that once one has seized a mitzvah, he should hurry to complete it, and not just to make things easier for himself, like one who wants to be rid of a burden he is carrying. Rather, he should hurry, out of fear that otherwise he might not be able to complete this. with regards to this day of blessed memory, cautioned repeatedly and said, and he quotes from Bereshit Rabbah 85 verse 3, he who commences a mitzvah but does not complete it will bury his wife and children. So the Ramchal is describing how, I would look at it in a personal way. I've seen many times that God actually gives you the opportunity to perform good deeds, but they're there in front of you the whole time. Sometimes God even turns your attention. If you're walking in the street, perhaps you'll turn around for no real apparent reason, but you'll notice someone who needs help. I believe that's God offering you the chance to do a mitzvah. He brings your attention to something that you perhaps wouldn't have noticed, and now God is testing you. Are you going to go and help that blind man or that elderly lady over the road, or help that young woman with her pram to get in her a doorway? When you see that, you must act upon it. This is what the Ramchal is saying. When you see a mitzvah in front of you, you must pursue it like it's gold, you must pursue it like it's a highly desirable thing to do. Not think of it as a chore, or I have to do this. You should want to do it. And he continues, and he quotes from also Proverbs. They said the mitzvah is ascribed only to the one who completes it. And Shlomo HaMelech said in Proverbs 22:29, have you seen a man who is quick in his work? He will ultimately stand before kings. He will not have to stand before those who are lowly. And the sages of blessed memory attributed him, referring to King Solomon, this self-same praise for his speedy work in building the Beis HaMikdash without indolence or delay. Through a homiletic interpretation from Shir HaShirim Rabbah 1 verse 2, they also attributed it to Moshe for his speedy work with regard to the Mishkan. You will also find that all of the deeds of the righteous are always done speedily. Regarding Avraham, it states in Bereshit chapter 8 verse 16, I think that's Vayera, and Avraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said to her, quickly, and he gave them to the boy, who then hurried. And as for Rivka, it states in I think it's Chayesara, that she quickly emptied her pitcher into the drinking trough. Similarly, they stated in the Midrash, Bamidbar Rabbah 10 verse 5, the woman ran quickly and told her husband. That's Shoftim 13:10. Also teaches that all the deeds of the righteous are done quickly. They do not allow time to slip away, neither regarding the commencement of a mitzvah nor its completion. The person whose soul is aroused to the service of his Creator will surely not be lax in the performance of his mitzvot. Rather, his movement will be as rapid as fire, for he will neither rest nor be silent until the matter is brought to completion. If you probe further, you will see that just as alacrity or vigor is influenced by the arousal from within, this arousal itself is influenced by vigor. For if one is enthusiastic in his performance of a mitzvah, he will find that when he quickens his external physical movement, he will thereby cause his inner fervor to be aroused, and his yearning and desire will progressively intensify. However, if he reacts with lethargy when moving his limbs, the inner drive of his spirit will also wither and be extinguished. Experience will confirm this as true, and I can definitely confirm that. If you take the simple example of wanting to get up early, perhaps for shul, you have two options. You have one scenario, you do the correct way, is you immediately jump out of bed. Preferably you make your bed after you get up out of bed, so that there's no going back into bed. And you get up and you start your day, you go to shul. The other way is you wake up and you intend at all times to hit the snooze button. You hit the snooze button, and if you think that those 8 minutes or 6 minutes of sleep are going to wake you up or going to make you feel like you've had a good night's sleep, you're very, very wrong. I think every time I've snoozed, it's turned into something terrible, where I snoozed once and then snoozed again, and I felt even more tired the third time, and then I was late for whatever I was doing. So there are two scenarios. Pick the first one, jump up, get out of bed quickly, make your bed, that you've completed, you've sealed your sleeping time, and you're ready for the day ahead. This is the attitude one must have. And now the Ramchal is going to describe the really vigor should be an expression of your soul. And the Ramchal continues, you already know, however, that what is most desirable for the service of the Creator is the yearning of the heart and the pining of the soul. Perceiving this as his good portion, David HaMelech rejoices, declaring in Psalms 42, as a deer cries longingly for the brooks of water, my soul yearns for you, O Eternal. My soul thirsts for the Eternal, the living God. When will I be judged worthy to come and appear before the Eternal? And also from the same passage, 84:3 of Psalms, my soul longingly yearns for the courtyards of the Eternal. And also from Psalm 63 verse 2, my soul thirsts for you, my flesh pines for you. So you can sense King David's passion and vigor in his writings. And we can all learn from that. And the Ramchal continues this chapter. For the person in whom this desire is not sufficiently kindled, it is advisable that he actively arouse himself. This will lead to the result that the desire will become part of his nature, for the external or physical movement will stimulate the internal one, and this is more clearly in line with his capabilities than the ability to influence the internal domain directly. If he will utilize what is within his capacity, eventually he will also acquire what lies beyond his capacity, and he will discover inner joy, yearning and desire as a result of the deliberate intensity in his movement. As the prophet said in Hosea chapter 6 verse 3, and to know we must pursue the knowledge of the Eternal, as it is written, they should follow the Eternal like a roaring lion. So a fantastic chapter describing this inner fire we have to develop within ourselves. But it can be developed slowly, step by step. But as we know, our external actions will ultimately affect our internal drive or machinations. And we will, so performing things with vigor, even if it's a little bit difficult in the beginning, it'll become nature to us. It will feel natural to jump out of bed in the morning after a while. And this is a fascinating a chapter that I think we should all bear in mind. Simple things like stoking our own fire of vigor is how important this is. And in the next chapter, chapter 8, next episode, we're going to deal with the idea of how we acquire this kind of sense of vigor.